In honor of Stranger Things, I'm drinking out of what until an hour ago I thought was a Stranger Things cup, and then found out it was actually a Ghostbusters cup.
Well, I feel like it's the same thing.
Don't like these two
Essentially,
basically look like Dustin and Elle?
yeah, well, I think one of them is in, like, I think Finn Wolfhard is in Ghostbusters,
Oh, neither of the
but not
characters I named.
not the ones that are on your cup. But he is in that movie.
Okay, so like in a sense, I am supporting Stranger Things.
I'm drinking um an Irish hot chocolate
Ooh, sexy.
because I thought it would be nice, cozy fall vibes. Um, and I feel like it's something that children would drink, minus the Baileys.
Minus the Irish. Yeah.
I
No,
thought about dressing like the little boys from Stranger Things, but then I was like, it's just gonna be like a T-shirt, and that's kind of lame.
yeah, I just realized that I had this like very 80s top.
Yeah, that is very
I actually like
80s.
took shoulder pads out of it like a few months back. I don't know why I bought it. Like I went thrifting with one of my friends like a few years ago and was like, "Oh, that's cute," and bought it. And now I look at it on me and I'm like, I look like a mother in the 80s. Like,
Well, let's keep it for when you're a MILF.
yeah, because like it's so like it doesn't reveal anything. Well, okay, like, it's just so covered up.
That's your problem with it. It's like
Mhm.
not revealing enough.
It's not slutty enough, and
People weren't slutty enough in the 80s.
that's my biggest problem with the 80s. Everything else was
Yeah.
fine, right?
Yeah, no, I think overall everything was good in terms of like equality and the economy and capitalism.
Yeah, they were super nice to women and the gays and black people. All that stuff was
Yeah.
totally cool, right?
Like, I don't know why Will was crying in the car. Sounds like he's just a little bit of a baby.
Honestly, he's a bit of a bitch, right?
You have no problems being a little gay boy in the 80s.
Yeah. I don't understand. Life's easy for you, I thought. Um, I'm gonna be upfront.
Did you just finish watching it?
Yeah, I finished it yesterday. I decided to just chill yesterday and I was like, oh, I have to watch the rest of Stranger Things. I'd watched like episode 1 or 2 like a while ago. So I just watched it yesterday. And I'll be really upfront with you. A lot of my complaints throughout that I realized I kept repeating and writing in my notes was, why is every episode 2 hours long?
Yeah, no, it's a chore to get through. I was so mad about how much time I had to spend watching so little story.
I was
And
really
like,
mad. Like,
it's good enough to keep you watching, but
yeah, I don't even,
it should have been cut
like,
down.
it felt really unnecessary. And also, I'm not watching, like, if, like, I'm watching a TV show, I don't want to watch a fucking movie every single episode.
Right? It's like such a commitment too. It's like, oh, do you want to watch an episode before bed? And then it's like
I
2 hours.
I
Like,
basically watched
no,
all day
not the
yesterday. Like
vibe.
I woke up, started watching, and went to bed and just finished the last episode. Which, by the way, the last episode alone felt like forever. Felt like it went on for so long.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was
Yeah.
maybe my biggest complaint of the season, and I have some other genuine opinions about it, but that was just, I'm so upset by it.
We can save it for when things get a little spicy.
Yeah.
And the hot takes.
I can't tell if my takes are like hot or not, but I guess we'll find out.
They're like, your anger is hot.
Yeah. Oh.
You're hot.
I'm hot.
So,
my anger is
together.
red hot. My takes are like...
Are they groundbreaking opinions? Not always. But you know what? It's better to be honest than to just make up something groundbreaking for the sake of being groundbreaking.
Okay. If we want to talk about the show as a whole for a second first then, and get into that, I think the show itself started off with a really cool concept of like small town, really nerdy kids who just like are dealing with basically monsters, just like their nerdy game come to life almost, it seems like. And I thought that was really fun. And like I really enjoyed, that's kind of how I got into Stranger Things, and I don't like scary things, but I thought it was like cool enough to get over it. And I feel like one of my biggest problems with like the most recent season and even a little bit season 3 was it's just gotten like too big. Like it started off like kind of like feeling very small and like a little bit campy, like a almost like a story you would hear like a horror story you would hear at camp or something. And now it just feels like way too big. Like that was a big, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about that, but that was a problem I had.
No, I agree. I feel like the first season was like Scooby-Doo-esque, like the little adventures. And I was really hoping that in this season, because it had been such like a time gap, and because it had felt like in season 3 that there was like a big conclusion for a lot of the characters, which I'm gonna be able to talk about in the finale. But I think, yeah, the stakes just went too high. I was like really annoyed with how they just like kept building on like the Demogorgon and stuff. I was kind of ready because when they started doing like this more horror throwback was this before. I feel like it was more like sci-fi, and then like here they were really referencing like horror movies and like horror tropes and cliches. I just kind of thought based off episode 1, like, oh, what a like fresh and interesting take, because I thought it was going to be like a new monster. And then I kind of miss TV shows like that where it's like you get like the mystery of the episode and there can be like the big bad of the season. And then sorry, I'll save one of my points for a hot take. But
okay. No, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I was really hoping it would just kind of be them like in Hawkins doing like little adventures and not like this grand scale like fate of the world event happening.
Yeah, I didn't love like one of the things that frustrated me, I think because it stresses me out a lot, was all the locations that were going on in the season.
Yeah,
like why
there's
was
so many like plot lines. Like, no,
why were they randomly in Russia, and then why were like some of them were in Hawkins and that made sense, and then some of them were, I don't know, where are they, California is where they live.
Yeah.
Okay, I also, I'll be honest, while watching it, somewhat not paying attention, I did miss some of the finer details of the show.
No, that's okay.
But I thought they were in
was
California.
a chore to get through. I think here's the thing that makes the season worth watching for me is everything that goes on in Hawkins with the Hawking kids, and then everything else I wanted to skip through. I thought that was
fair.
I thought it should have been scrapped. I don't think it serves the show anymore.
I thought,
and it's just kind of padding the time.
Yeah, so I think I say this at some point. I don't really know where, but I thought the whole KGB Russian spy thing was like a really unnecessary plot line that I didn't like enjoy, and it just kind of felt like they wanted to know what to do with the adult characters and kind of get them out of the way.
Yeah, but like here's the thing though. That's exactly what it felt like. But like, you know, it was a really good way of getting rid of the adult characters is you killed the main one last season.
Yeah.
And then you just brought him back to do absolutely nothing and waste everyone's time.
Okay. I think that they don't, like, as sad as this makes me, I think they should kill off more characters because it's always a ballsy move to kill off like a character that's like beloved to people. And then 2, it will help with the problem of the fact that like their cast is just too big.
Yeah, there's way too many characters. I really wanted as well this season. This is me with like my little rewrites that like really stopped me from enjoying the rest of what happened. Like it would have been so much better if I just think that Will and Elle and the brother, I forget his name,
Jonathan? Will and Jonathan?
Yeah, and like Winona Ryder should have been. They left last Hawkins. I think they should have just not been in this show.
I think
Millie Bobby Brown's doing other things.
I feel like the problem is that like 11, it basically just solves all their problems.
Yeah.
Which, like, honestly though, if you wrote her off, that would be fine too. But like, I think that was the problem when she went with them. I also think, okay, straight up, my take is that Joyce, like Winona Ryder's character, is like.
Oh, sorry, you cut out.
Oh, I was gonna say my take is that like Joyce, like Winona Ryder's character, is such a lax mom that I don't think they had to get her out of the way, because I'm pretty sure if the kids said, oh, we need to do this because of the upside down, she'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess that's what we're doing.
No, I agree that she's not like she didn't bother me being back into it, and I think she could have stuck around. But I just think for the sake of the like, it would have just made sense if they like that family moved
Yeah, no,
to
I think
somewhere else, and then that was the end of that line, and then it leaves kind of like Nancy and Steve and like the boys to like do things on their own as well and like develop those characters more, and then they can introduce new characters to like kind of fill those gaps. And it would have been such a fresh take to see like them doing things without 11, and they could have met maybe someone else with like different but like interesting power. I don't know. There could have been so many things that they could have done to keep it fresh. And this just kind of feels like they dug themselves into a hole a little bit because like where are you going to go from now? It's just going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to make less and less sense.
Oh, sorry, you cut off. But yeah, I get what you mean. It will just get bigger and bigger, and that's my biggest fear for season 5 is that, which I'm assuming they have a season 5, is that like everything they do to explain what's going on, what like happened this season, will just get even more convoluted and like complicated, and I'm like, I don't want that. Also, though, kind of happy that who is Elle's boyfriend again? Mike?
Finn?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the actor's name, Mike. Yeah,
Mike just was kind of with her the whole season because I don't care that much about him, and
I think he also could have disappeared from the show.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, Mike goes to like visit Elle, and then like they're just not around, and I would have been fine with that. Like I liked the general focus on Hawking. Everything that happened in that
storyline's
town.
not interesting enough. Like I don't think anyone ever watched the show for maybe like the early seasons, but at least later on, no one ever watched the show for like 11 and like Mike and Will. Like I don't, they weren't like the interesting. Everyone watched it for Steve and Dustin.
Yeah.
And the little shenanigans.
Well, season 1, I guess, was more about like Mike and Will, I would say, and 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that makes sense. Like just follow one character, finish their arc, and then like it's just a good way to keep it moving.
Yeah. One thing I want to say about the show as a whole that's kind of a pet peeve of mine, and maybe people disagree, but I think they underutilize the Upside Down as like a location. I think it would be
that's fair. I didn't think of that, but that's a good point.
So season 1 I watched, and I remember I really enjoyed it, but I was really disappointed that there wasn't more of the Upside Down. And like I kind of think it would be interesting to see them like surviving in the Upside Down, and like sort of like having like if Hopper had been, instead of in Russia, which was kind of a fucked up plotline that was super gross, he was just like in the Upside Down for the season. Like, yeah, sure, fine, he's not dead, but make it more interesting where he's like in that area and you have to see him like survive all the like monsters that are there.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that would have been so fun. It was fun in like I thought like the finale when they spent a lot of time there. And they like purposefully
I
don't think that had been done before. Yeah.
And another problem I have with this season specifically was I'm really fucking sick of hearing Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush.
Are you sick of it yet?
I feel like I heard it 6 times in one episode, and I was like, oh, this is like an okay song at best. And I'm so sick. But anyways,
I saw like the trends about it, like the memes of people being like, "Oh, this is the song that would save me from Becca" thing happening. And then I kind of thought that meant that, like, I didn't realize that it was just gonna be like, what's her name?
Max.
Gosh, I'm blanking. I was gonna say Danielle. That Max was gonna be the only one that like has to like do that. I thought we were gonna get a little like.
Yeah, I also didn't realize it was just like her favorite song. I thought the idea was it was a song that like you have a strong emotional connection to. So I was kind of weirded out that it was just like, oh, she just really likes Kate Bush.
They also didn't really explain that, like the way the information they gave us to understand that was how, like it just seemed like it could be any kind of music to me.
Yeah, that's
play
also
any music.
It seemed like that, but
it was a weird leap in logic for them to be like, okay, it has to be her favorite. So it's like, well, This is already a stretch.
Maybe they just like assumed that like her favorite song would be the one that like would be able to reach her.
I guess that's fair.
I don't know. Like I also didn't really like. I got kind of what they were saying. Like it had to be like I thought they were saying it had to be a song that he had some sort of a connection to. I thought he was singing the song because it was like his wedding song or something, and he was
Yeah, yeah.
explaining it. And so
Yeah,
I was
okay, that
really
would make sense.
confused.
I'm assuming that has to do with, like, I don't know. I don't know if many people that have, like, one favorite song.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Like,
I don't know if there's one song, if I just had to pick my favorite
I like,
song, that would
yeah.
save me from Vecna. Like, I feel like,
No, yeah. There's, like, meaningful songs to you. I don't know. It
yeah,
was interesting.
they're like songs that
But I
remind
guess,
me of people. So, like, if you played that, I'd probably be like, oh, yeah, this, and
I
I'd feel
feel like,
something.
yeah. I feel like it could have been more interesting, too, because, like, instead of just being, like, trivia piece, like, oh, we just know what her favorite song is because we're good friends. It could have been like, let's think about what could have been meaningful to her and like what's a very Max song. Like, I don't know, that would have been cute
I thought
too.
it was gonna be like, oh, a song that like meant to like it was like Lucas and Max's song or something, and that's how they tie in their
Yeah,
relationship, like something like that. Even though
yeah.
honestly, I don't care that much about their relationship.
Okay, I was just gonna talk about that. Can we talk about Lucas?
Yeah, sure.
Bro, I hated him this season.
Yo,
I
so
thought
did
he
I.
was such a dick to her all the time. All he would do is just pressure her, like, why aren't we dating? Why aren't we dating? Why aren't we dating? And then she'd be like, leave me alone. And then he just wouldn't. And like every scene they had together, she got like fucking like her limbs all broken by Vecna, lying in the hospital bed, brings away from death. And he was like, so are we dating now? Just like,
Yeah.
can you leave me alone for 5 seconds? They should just replace him with Erica, I think.
Yeah, probably. She's a way better character.
Yeah, like they include her all the time anyways. Like that's the thing what I mean. Like I feel like they're too um like precious about their characters or like the actors, and like I just think the show could serve from some people just not even being killing off necessarily, but like
Writing
leaving
off.
town.
Yeah, like I,
Yeah.
for example, didn't realize that Nancy, Steve, and Jonathan were all still in high school.
Bro, yeah, me too.
And was really confused
I
as
thought
to
they
why.
graduated the year before.
I thought like I
Because
thought
Steve's graduated.
I don't think he is. I think he's still in high school
No, he
also.
is.
Oh, he is. Okay. I thought
Because
like
he's doing a lap year.
I don't know. I thought
Okay.
Steve being in town made sense because it was basically like he was a shitty student and now he's got a dead end job.
Yeah.
Um, and then Robin is like his friend who we met at work who like is still in high school, which is fine because they never really told me her age.
Yeah.
But like I feel like Nancy and Jonathan could have graduated and gone to college at the end of season 3, and I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, that's the thing too, especially because Nancy was like doing journal. Like, I think it would have just made sense if she just had like an internship at an a newspaper, or she was doing a journalism program at a college. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I think as well, I don't remember exactly if they said what year they were in that made me think they were graduating. But I know that like in the 80s they would do a 13th year.
I think that's it. Is like
yeah.
because we know now a time where there's only 12 years. I think we assumed they had graduated, and then they were doing a year 13 is what I
Yeah.
said. Also,
But then I guess
yeah,
like
sorry, go on.
Steve is the oldest, and then Jonathan was also in high school, or was he done?
Jonathan was also in high school. I think Steve was a year older, because I feel like
Okay.
I remember him being okay. Maybe he is graduated, yeah, because I feel like I remember him being a senior or something, like an older boy when like Nancy dated him.
Oh, okay.
Also,
Fair enough.
this is off topic from that, but I just want to say, I feel like the show takes itself too seriously. Like when you were talking about how they think their characters are too precious, I was thinking like, I feel like doing the 2-hour episodes and like a lot of the stuff they
Yeah.
do, it just feels like they take themselves so seriously, and their fans, I think, take them very seriously as well. And I feel like it's too much.
I feel like it's not that type of show.
I don't think it's like I think this happens to any show that is like of good quality, because I feel like they're rare nowadays. But the fan base and like everyone becomes so
Yeah.
protective of it and take it so seriously, and the show starts to like, I don't know, like almost like get an ego, and then like you watch it and all of a sudden
Yeah.
it kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, the hour and a half to 2 hour episodes were really, I thought, pretentious. No, it could have been interesting. Like I didn't mind Winona Ryder and the guy
Hopper?
who I've been calling Sikowitz in my head.
Oh,
That's from Victoria. But I
honestly,
feel like they have similar
that's
vibes.
accurate. I feel like he has a Sikowitz kind of vibe. I don't know his name either. I was gonna call him Randy, so
Yeah, whatever his name is,
yeah.
Sikowitz. I thought that was like kind of interesting, and I would have been down to watch them do their thing. But I think they should have shown up and they realized that Hopper was actually dead, like it wasn't real. But they just still found the monster and like were able to contribute that way.
Yeah, I
I
think
just really didn't like Hopper being back alive.
I
Do you have
kind
takes
of
on?
did like Hopper being back alive. I'm not
Fine.
saying like from a plot standpoint it was a bad choice, but from a visual standpoint I was really happy about it because Hopper got hot, like really hot.
He's always been hot.
I no,
The starvation and the
I
cold and
I
the
disagree with that
the jaded.
statement.
No, he did get extra sexy.
And
I
honestly,
agree.
I enjoyed watching that. I don't know if
But
that was a hot
that
take, but I just had to say it.
okay. I think he was sexy, but I think it was very the way he acted at the prison cell felt very out of character. Like I didn't understand. Like, did he like serve in the military or something? Because I was trying to remember like what is it
Yeah,
about
he did.
Hopper
He
that would
explained
make
it in
him
the
such a
season.
badass? Okay. Because he just felt like I was just thinking like, oh, this like small town cop that was always just kind of cranky and like I feel like in season one was just like drinking a lot, eating donuts, and
No,
like just kind of like chilled around town.
he
To like this Hopper, I'm sorry, if that was any like average like small town cop, they would have been the second they've been like, we're gonna torture you for information. So okay, we're gonna tell you everything. They tore this man to shreds, and he did not pee. Is he a
he
secret
was
agent?
so
I
he
don't think
was in
so.
the military. He explained, and then the reason he was so cranky and grumpy as a small town cop was because his daughter died and his wife left him.
Yeah, but that would make you a softie.
I'm pretty sure that made him just angry at the world. And then he like
Ugh,
explained that it
I
was like
guess I
maybe
just would have
his
given up.
fault that his daughter died because of like the chemicals they were working with and how it like fucked with him and all the other guys he served with.
Oh,
Come
okay. Well, I
on,
didn't
I
miss
was
that
only
plot
half
point.
paying attention to this
I
show.
thought it was a stretch. I thought it was a stretch for me to believe that he could actually go through all this stuff and
Yeah,
I don't know. I never thought of him I thought of him as like a hero and like he's like the average person stepping up to the but not in like a I'm basically Captain America.
no, that's fair. I thought it was strange that they went this route with him, but like I I didn't mind it so much. Like I thought it was like in
Okay.
hindsight, yeah, it was a stretch. But when I was watching it, I didn't really pay any attention to it. But I just didn't pay a lot of attention to like the Russia
It
stuff in
was
general.
I still preferred it to the L stuff. We can talk about that after.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought it was a really rich take. And I especially thought it was weird because the ending of him reuniting with 11 was, I felt really like shoehorned in and like they didn't really build up to that. Like she was already just kind of like getting over it. Like it wasn't like she was frustrated at like what an injustice it was. I don't know. It felt like not cathartic. I felt like not like an event.
Oh, I
So I
cried
feel
a
like it
little
should
bit
have.
when they reunited. I thought it was really sweet, like they hugged each other. I did think it
It
could have
annoyed
been
me.
more of a thing, but like I do
Okay.
feel like throughout the season they showed that Ella was like in pain from losing him and was sad about
Yeah.
it. But then like the last I would say like few episodes they definitely like didn't bring it up very much and they like sort of was following a different
Yeah.
storyline with Al that I think realistically like they should have sort of shown her still mourning that loss because then it would have made it so much better.
Yeah. I just like there wasn't really an arc for that. I felt, which I usually I feel like there would be. Like I don't know, because I feel like if you're gonna do something like that, it has to like kind of make sense. And to me,
Yeah. But
it
I
wasn't like
still
anyone was particularly begging for Hopper to come back
well Joyce
or
was she
like
was horny as hell.
was she? I thought she was like
Yeah,
brooding.
She really wanted to bone Hopper.
Um, she's like, finally, we can bone. I've moved on to my son.
Speaking of Elle, I have some questions,
Yeah.
and I want to know if I just missed it or if this is like an answer for next season. One, here, wait, let me look at it really quickly. One, did 11 create the Upside Down or just open a door to it? Is that purposely ambiguous, or am I giving her too much credit?
Okay, 11 did not create the Upside
Okay.
Down. She opened a door to it. 1 created the Upside Down. But I don't even know. I don't know if it was like he fell into this dimension and then made it into like the Upside Down with like, the scary monsters and shit, or if like
I thought she just
he
found it. Like
no,
he
they show
became.
him at the end like the space. Yes, I think he found it, but like the decorating, he did that all himself.
Oh, okay.
If
Because
that makes sense.
my next question was this. What is the relevance of the Upside Down being stuck in 1983? Is that something they want to answer next season? It seemed like a weird thing to bring up. Was it because that's when Will was first taken to the Upside Down, or is that a wrong answer?
Maybe.
How did the Upside Down become a copy of the real world if one/Henry/Vecna, or whatever he is called, said that it was initially not ruined by human existence? Did he do that, or was it like that? Seems weird that he would do that.
That's a good point.
I have so many questions.
Don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Because yeah, it wouldn't even make sense because I think he went there in like what looked like the 40s or something.
Yeah. Which is why I thought maybe Elle
I don't
created
know.
it. To be
Some
honest,
magic. Barb made it. I don't know.
I have a lot of questions that I need answered, but I feel like they should be simply answered and not a complex fifth season kind of answer.
No, I think I don't think it's something that they like left as a loose end to solve in season 5. I think they just want you to roll with it. I forget if they had some explanation for it.
Well,
maybe it's because it's on Will or something.
I feel like why did they bring up that it's stuck in 1983 if they're not going to talk about it?
Yeah, there wasn't really a reason for that, was there? I think there was like
basically Nancy it just seemed like Nancy didn't have her guns. Yeah.
Yeah, which also like they just could have not written that line. Just yeah. Like, oh, I have guns. Like I don't think there was ever a point where like she lost them.
I kind of love that Nancy just like has guns in her house.
Yeah, me too. Nancy is a character I really like this season. She used to like not really like be on my radar. I didn't like care about her, but this season she's like one of my favorite characters.
I think she's a character that I don't mind, but I don't have strong feelings toward.
Okay, that's fair. I think I found her a little bit annoying earlier on, but now I do like her. Steve. Okay, I talked to you a little bit about this when I started watching before you watched, and I think you said a really good response to it was Steve's little crush on Nancy. I think it's fine that Steve is not over Nancy and has a crush on Nancy. And you said I think like it says a lot about his character, but I don't think they should get back together. I don't think she should reciprocate those feelings. I think he should like pine for her, and that should be a character arc, and she should know where she stands on it. Yeah.
I think, and I say this a little bit in another section, but basically I think that it makes sense why Steve still has feelings for Nancy, because she's the only girl I think he's ever like actually loved.
Yeah.
But it seemed to me, from what I remember, that Nancy mostly just dated Steve because he was popular, and that she never actually really loved him. So I think it's weird that they kind of were trying to build this thing between the two of them, with that having been the case.
Like, I think she mentions, like, oh, he's, like, grown up a lot. But I just don't think that's enough for her to change her mind. I just don't think, he's her type. Like, Jonathan's clearly her type, and they're very, like, not alike. And I don't think she would, like, go back to that. Like, Steve's not, like, a far cry from who he was in season 1. Like, he was kind of a child in season 1, and now he's like a little bit more mature.
Yeah, I think he's like the same
Yeah.
personality, but like he's grown up and like he's a better person.
Yeah. And I don't think that was he like necessarily a dick in season 1?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, sad. I don't really remember him. I guess he was like bullying
I
some kids or
remember he did
something.
some kind of shitty stuff.
Oh, did he say the F word? Yeah, he totally
Maybe.
did.
I think he like sort of said some bad things about Nancy after she dumped him, and then like
Oh,
I
must have
think he
been.
like beat up Jonathan or something like that. I don't know. He did sort of shit like that where it was
Yeah.
like just really toxic shit.
Okay. Well,
Um,
yeah. So I don't think they should get back together. I'm
yeah.
okay with her and Jonathan breaking up, but I don't think she should go back to Steve.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of wanted Nancy and Jonathan to be written off after season 2. To be honest, I thought they made
Yeah.
sense as a couple, but I didn't want to see them anymore. Like I kind of wanted them to go.
I was glad they were separated this season. I don't
Yeah.
really like them together. They're fine. They just annoy me.
I think
It's not that I think they
what
wouldn't
I
date.
like
I just think
the one
I don't
thing
want
I
to see
like
it.
about them being together is that I know what scenes I want to skip. Um,
Oh yeah, you said you skipped a bunch of their love
I
scenes.
skipped so many of
Their
their
sex
scenes.
scenes make me so awkward. I'm like,
I
this
just think
cringe.
like there are a couple I don't care about. But I don't really care about a lot of the couples in the show. So
That's true. There's like very few couples I give a shit about. I don't care about Elle and Mike.
yeah,
Who would? I don't really care about Mike and Will. And I don't care about. I like Dustin and his girlfriend. They're fine. They're not really.
I weirdly love Dustin and Susie, but maybe it's because we don't have any time with them ever.
Dustin got kind of different. I don't think he's as cute as he was when they casted him. I think he's doing this like awkward um preteen thing or like I don't know, teenager thing.
I
And I
kind of
like it.
like
I
it
think it's
though.
really charming. Like it's different. And I'm like, you're such like an awkward weird dude.
I feel like Dustin is the only character that actually seems like he's going through his awkward teen years.
Yeah, and he's kind of becoming, I think, like the parent to a lot. Like he's really like surpassing his friends in terms of like maturity, I
Yeah.
find.
Well, his
And like
best
it
friend is
makes
Steve,
sense that
who's an adult
yeah.
man.
And that kind of makes sense. Like of all the people to kind of not want to hang out with the group anymore, it was weird that they chose Lucas. And I guess I don't
I
know,
guess
wanted to do
Lucas
something
had
with
like
him, but
the potential to be popular though.
I feel like Dustin has the potential to be like
No, he doesn't.
think of like okay, you're in like middle school, like a kid with like confidence and like personality is like funny. He had like cute hair. Like, come on, girls would be all over
But
that.
he likes D&D, and that's inherently just like the nerdiest thing he could do.
I guess it is the 80s.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to move on to
Mm-hmm.
tropes? Do you want to talk about tropes for a
Oh
minute?
yeah, sure. What are you talking
Okay, my thing, I don't know if this is really a trope, but like all the like bullying and like bullying associated like things that happen in TV where they have like just like a really aggressive like jock character who bullies
Yeah,
everyone all the
like
time.
sodomizing children and stuff.
I find, yeah, I find these storylines so boring, so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like I realized that realistically, this D&D club would get bullied. Of course they would. They're nerds. They'd probably get bullied today, and it's far more widely accepted today than it was in the 80s. But I found it's weird that they just wrote in a bully who's basically a raging psychopath, and like they just like it seemed like all the storylines that involved the bullies were really unnecessary and honestly more than anything just
You're
frustrating to
right.
watch.
Right? Oh my god. The random bully plotline, I didn't give a shit. I kind of wanted, when I was watching it, I thought, the kid looks like he's like 40. The
Yeah.
actor. He looks so old. But then I thought, oh, this would kind of be more interesting if it wasn't like a student and it was like a teacher and it was like he was kind of creepy with like the cheerleader girl, Chrissy, and if he was like just kind of a weird like more of like a weird character, like more creepy because he was so boring and like didn't really
Okay,
do anything.
with that teacher idea, I think what also could be an interesting way to do it is like, because basically what happens is whatever the bully's name is, starts a witch hunt for the D&D club because he says it's a cult or whatever. I think it
Right.
would be interesting if like it was like a teacher who basically just like really hated the club and like Billy and the people in it and sort of like
Yeah.
used it as an opportunity to like ban it and get rid of it and stuff. So he was like trying to do this. I also thought it was weird that this high school boy was able to just like convince a whole town that there was a
Yeah.
demon cult in their town. I was
The
like,
adults are like, oh yes, like this fucking 17-year-old kid like can run my town, whatever.
yeah,
No,
the adults were like, oh, this makes
like
perfect
they're
sense.
God. Like, yeah, I think it just made more sense if he was like an adult in the community.
Yeah, because if he was an adult and he was like sort of coming into like the church or something and
Yeah,
saying this, I could totally see it happening.
yeah,
But it seems super weird. And
and like he's a little
also,
bit
the
racist too,
whole
so
like
he's like
town
mentally
witch hunt and
abused.
like them coming after the D&D club
Mm-hmm.
didn't affect really anybody, it seemed like, except for Billy by the end. And they just killed Billy and didn't have to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah, that was
So,
definitely a plotline that they just like forgot about and then picked up at the end.
so no
Um,
repercussions for it. And it felt like the plot line was, again, just filler time. And like,
yeah,
this, and I just in general find that
it was.
television shows and like movies and stuff don't like do bullying plot lines very well. I feel like they're
I think
always
of
a lot
yeah.
over the top.
Here's the thing. I think like it's for a TV show, I think it's okay to have that many plot lines. Lots of TV shows do, but how they do it is this episode is this plot line, and this episode is this plot line. And I think they could have done that if they had kept it into like more like chapters or like these 2 episodes or whatever you're gonna call it. Like instead of just having like A plot, B plot, D plot, C plot. Like it was so
Yeah.
many.
Yeah, I guess they could have like sort of had like it starts with like being a thing about
Mm-hmm.
um the Hawkins kids like getting murdered and then like
Yeah,
they move into like the stuff that's happening in California for a bit when like Finn Wolfhard's character goes there and they focus on that plot line
yeah,
for a bit and then maybe like while he's there they go into the Russian spies plot line or whatever and then like
yeah.
it can circle back again to like Hawkins or something like that at the end.
Because they had like full episodes where they just didn't touch on like anyone. Like I think that the first half of the season's finale didn't even have like Elle and Will and
A lot of
or did it have
episodes
Elle or did it have not Will and
a lot
Jonathan?
of episodes just didn't have like the California kids,
Okay, yeah. That was so it
which
was so
I
weird.
kind
They
of
just like
enjoyed.
wasn't on a road trip. That don't make sense why they weren't there the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I read somewhere that it was filming during COVID, which was an issue too, which is maybe why they had to keep them separate. I'm fine with keeping them separate. I think just the pacing was really weird, how
I
they balanced
I
out
thought
all
the
the
same thing.
stories.
Like I'm fine with keeping them into like separated groups. I just felt like it was super weird and
Mm-hmm.
like it didn't make sense overall and was a lot. Anyways, that was the
Yeah.
main trope I wanted to talk about was just bullying and
Yeah,
like
no,
the
I agree with like the bullying thing. Like, I don't understand. Like, is it a cliche because like that's how bullies actually acted in the '80s? Like, I don't. They don't act like that now, to my knowledge.
yeah, I
It just
guess.
feels like is it a cliche because it happened, or did some adult just write a teen movie and was like, this is how bullies act?
I think I can believe that like bullying in the 80s was more aggressive and more violent,
Like
especially like
physical? Yeah.
in terms of like guys like beating up like nerdy kids and stuff like that. I fully believe that that was like more of a thing. And
Okay.
like that it would be like the good boy religious athlete
Yeah.
kind of guy who would be doing that. What I don't believe so much is that he would like flip so much. Like that he would just like warp.
He
Like
was
I feel
kind of
like
just
he
a
just basically was
psychopath.
a psychopath. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just kind of at the end were like, oh, like I feel like they're midway through introducing his character. They're like, oh, like, and then he's like super Christian, and that wasn't like a thing at the start, because that I feel like they just had to do that. Cause it's like, oh, why would he believe that like a witch is coming to like possess his friends? Um, so I think it could have been more interesting if he was more of like a choir boy and less of like a jock.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know,
also
or it would
like
have made more
that,
sense.
or I thought it was weird that he believed that the devil was possessing Billy, but
Like,
assumed that
no.
Billy made a deal with the devil to get his power and kill people instead of just
Yeah, his like understanding of what happened was so
like
berserk.
it
And when he
felt like
confronts Lucas at the end, yeah, sorry, go.
no, you say your thing, sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it just kind of felt like you just was finding a reason to like blame Billy because you didn't like
Yeah, what surprised me was what confused me was at the end when he's confronting Lucas, and Lucas is like, no, like I think his name's Billy, right?
Billy is the guy who like
Oh,
dies in like the end. I don't know what the bully's name is,
look it
but
up. You can
Billy's
tell
the
me.
one who they were blaming for all the murders and they were hiding all the season.
Jason Carver. Okay,
What's his name?
Jason.
Jason.
Jason. Um.
Lame.
Anyways, he confronts him at the end, and Jason's like, I pieced it together. I figured it out. Like Eddie's doing this. Yeah, deal with the devil. My friends are getting possessed. No, no, no. And then Lucas, who's like was in his group and was like his friend, is like up until now he doesn't really have a reason to believe that Lucas is up to no good other than that he found him there. But Lucas is like, no, like you don't understand what's happening. Let me explain to you what's happening. And he's like, no, whatever I made up in my head, that's correct. Like this
Yeah.
person's offering you information. Like at least listen.
Oh wait, is
Like,
the
what do
guy's
you
name
know?
Eddie?
You don't know anything.
Is the guy they blame
Sorry.
for the murder named Eddie? Why do
Oh
I think it was
yeah.
Billy?
Oh, I thought you were calling the jock Billy. So I
Oh
didn't
no.
say. No, it's Eddie.
Oh, it's
I'm pretty
Eddie.
sure.
Okay, whatever. I don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um.
They
But
have a
yeah,
similar
no, I
name.
thought it was weird that like, but I feel like it fit the weird jock guy's like psychopathic like transformation.
Yeah.
I just kind of thought also that part was unnecessary. Like I was like, honestly, why won't you drop this plot line? Drop this plot line, please. Do something to just drop. I won't question it if
I
you
don't.
just leave it.
Yeah. It was weird that they're just like, oh, and he's a psycho now. It's like, oh, he could just be a bully. You could just write him a bit better, and he could
I
be.
guess that's toxic masculinity for you.
I mean, they just make you crazy devil believers. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, it was
It was
super
so
weird.
weird. So I also thought like, oh, this is gonna be like their like B villain that's like super grounded in reality and then it's just another
Okay,
psycho.
I will say this. I fully believe that a small town in the 80s would believe that a boy in their town was possessed by the devil, like a small religious town would believe that a boy in their town was possessed by the devil and did murders. Like that 100% checked out for me.
I do too, but I think like it would have to be a police officer saying we found like satanic rituals.
Yeah,
And
I
then like
think
a rumor would have to grow organically, not just like some teenagers like, oh,
that's the
devil.
part I don't believe. I think like the adults of the town would have to be
Yeah.
like talking about it, and it would have to be something where like maybe the like pastor at the church or whatever is like,
Yeah.
this is what's happening, the devil has infected our town kind of thing, instead of just like this random psychotic teenage boy who clearly lost his mind after his girlfriend died. Like it was so obvious to
Yeah. Or
anyone who
maybe
was
it's like,
looking that he was like
yeah.
grief stricken.
Yeah, the parents of the kids. I remember like the rally, like the like Will's parent, or no, not Will's parents. Mike's parents were just there, like
They're just like shit.
Dustin's parents, like, oh, they didn't even say anything. They're just like, oh, okay,
They're all just looking at each other
better
like,
go home to
what
find
do
my
we do?
devil kids.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so weird. Um,
Anyways.
I was gonna talk about Elle
Okay.
as a character that I thought was a completely different person from how she was in the previous seasons.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or like did she get a lot like dumber?
Um.
I felt she was like so like, and I know she's like there was like the trauma aspect of like Hopper dying was they were trying to play into that, but watching her like at school and like interacting with Mike, she could like barely form sentences. It felt like she was speaking like Tarzan at certain times. I was like, no, 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 she's like the last season she was totally able to like socialize. Like she was a little bit awkward, but she could like have like a relationship. And just to the point in this season where I was like, is this like a like a weird power dynamic that Mike has over Elle? Like she seems to not be capable of interacting with anyone or like understanding society at all.
I felt like it was like that, yeah. And then like when we saw her later though, she was like kind of normal again. Like when she was like doing the other shit later in the season, and I was like, oh, if anything, Elle's like better now. But then yeah, at the beginning it was really weird because like she had no social skills or no ability to like form any
Mm-hmm.
sentences or like talk to people, which I thought
Yeah,
was
like her
weird. But
presentation, it was
I
like
guess
broken
maybe it was just
English.
trauma. and shit.
Yeah, maybe. It was weird. It was weird because I like the season before she wasn't that like displaced, and then here it
I
felt
guess
like
they
she
were
was straight
saying,
up just picked out of the jungle and put into a classroom.
I think maybe it was just the trauma of losing Hopper.
I guess
I don't
so.
know.
Yeah, I guess so. And that to me just also made like the her and Mike scenes really awkward
Hmm.
because I was like, it's like he's talking
Okay.
to a child.
Sorry. Okay. I think Mike kind of was just a douche this season.
I don't know if he was a douche. He just like didn't do anything. Was he
Maybe
like?
it's just the way he dresses and talks. It's not
Yeah,
that
no, I didn't like him. I don't know if he ever did like something necessarily
it's not that
bad. Like I think he tried really hard to like be a good boyfriend to Elle, but he was just so meh.
I
I was
yeah,
like,
I guess
Elle's a little
maybe
bit crazy. You're not gonna do it for her.
I feel like
That's not
maybe he didn't do anything that was actually that bad, but the way he talks and the way he dresses just makes me think he's a douchey teenage boy, which I guess
I
happens.
do think he ignored Will a little bit. He was
Yeah,
messing with his
okay.
friend.
Um, can we talk about Will and uh what's what's his name, Mike, for a
Mike.
second? I wait, where are my notes for it? Okay, I don't know where I put it. But basically, my feelings are this. I don't understand why Will is into Mike, because feels like Mike was the like worst friend to him, and then like Will's just like low key in love with him, and I'm like, what is this shit? Like, you just really want to. I felt bad for Will. I was like, you just want to be treated badly? Like, what is happening?
Well, I think yeah. No, I agree that they shouldn't date or anything. But I think it like he's in like middle school, right? Like high school. I feel like that makes sense. And he's like closeted and like I feel like when you're young, you're into people that treat you like shit because you don't want to ever actually be with them. Like, well, this will probably never happen, so it's safe to be into them.
I guess I still think that way
And
sometimes.
I don't think it takes much as well at that age to be into someone. It's like, oh my god, he runs really fast.
Yeah, I guess I just found it really frustrating.
I think I also don't understand why Mike is super into 11. Like, it honestly feels like a bit like, do you just have like, it feels a bit like maybe it's like objectifying. It's like, oh, she's just like a special girl. Like, she's like a sci fi girl. That's why you like her. But I don't know,
Okay,
they seem to not really have that much chemistry or anything really in common.
I felt like my big problem with Mike and 11 was that I'm okay. I don't really care that much about their relationship, but if you want to make it a big part of the show, fine,
Mm-hmm.
make it a big part of the show. Like, do what you got to do. But I thought it was weird that like they would. I felt like they did this thing where they talked about their relationship more than they showed their relationship,
Yeah,
which
that's true.
like I didn't love, and like it just kind of felt like when Mike and 11 were having all these fights. I think that's fine. That's like a normal thing for them to go through being in a long distance relationship. But it didn't ever feel like they really resolved it, which again, since the episodes were 2 fucking hours long, you'd think they could have carved out some time to resolve this big
Yeah,
issue that
she just
like
shows up in the end.
they seem to
Yeah.
bring up. And she just like wakes up and is like, it's all good. I love you too.
Yeah, no, that was stupid. I think what I would have liked to see, and like I think it was also in part with like uh what felt to me like was Eleven's like character arc like recessing. Like it felt like she wasn't growing into like more of a normal person, like not like a wild child, and like more of like a teenager. Because I feel like that they did that really well in season three. Is like you saw her like adapting to like school and like friends and like hanging
Mm-hmm.
out with like Max and stuff, which was really fun. And she's like giggling, having a good time, and has like her boyfriend. And like that's like good character development. Here, I felt like she didn't have that. What I would have liked to see is I think that like her and Mike should have a relationship where Ella's a little bit more confident because I think she is like very like she can be very stubborn and like confrontational and like speak up for herself and like argumentative. And I think Mike, at least I remember from the early season, was a very like mouthy kid and like always kind of snarky and like had little remarks and jokes. I think I would have liked to see them kind of have this like more bickering type of like
Yeah.
relationship, like a lot more of like I hate you, I love you vibe than like the little sappy like baby, it's okay. Like,
Yeah, I think like when they started dating, I understood why they had that like sappy, like I love you so much kind of thing. Just because like it was like their beginning of their relationship. But I think it would be fun for like their relationship to have moved into more of a snarky
yeah,
sort of
just so it
bickering kind
feels
of thing.
like, yeah, so it feels like they've actually had, like, they actually have like an established relationship, and like
Yeah, it
it's
feels
more comfortable and less like she's trying to still impress him. It's not even dating for like 2 years.
yeah.
And like
Because
lying to him in the letters too. That's
yeah,
fucked.
well then also like if they had a relationship like that, it would feel less like it's a new relationship that's still in the honeymoon phase and more like they
Yeah,
have an
it just kind of
established
comes
relationship.
across. Yeah, it comes across like the relationship just always has problems and like always has. They're always
Yo,
holding something out against the other.
it's crazy that their relationship survived long distance in like the 80s. They're writing
Yeah,
letters and calling
there's
each
so many.
other. That's
I guess it's
insane.
like you're a young high schooler. It's not like you're getting that many other options. I
Yeah.
might as well talk to my girlfriend on the
Um,
phone.
I will say one thing. I don't really like Elle that much as a character, but one thing I did really like about her this season was I like hella respected when she just smacked that girl with the skate.
Yeah,
Maybe
that was
I'm,
fun character development. I was like, yes,
yeah, I was like, Elle,
I want
fucking
to see
stand
her.
up for yourself. I'm like, maybe I'm an overly aggressive person, but that girl fucking deserved it.
It was cathartic. I could see like I think it's good that she really like regretted it and was like, "Holy fuck, I should not have done that. That was kind of crazy."
Did she regret it?
Yeah, well, I think she was like, "Oh, like people are gonna think I'm a monster. Like, am I a monster?" That was
I
kind of
guess,
fucked up
yeah.
to do to a person. Like, that was pretty violent. Like, it was fun. I think that they did that,
I,
and it felt
well, okay.
cathartic. But I think that was good. That was a good setup for a character arc that I also feel like just never happened.
Maybe hitting her in the face with like a skate was too much. But like I thought that girl deserved to get like slapped around a little bit. Not
Yeah.
like not in like a she's got an abusive like whatever. Just in like a she's a being a bitch and
No,
Elle punches her.
she needs to get bullied. She's a child that needs to get bullied.
Yeah. I feel like I okay, I'm really bad with this, but when I watch TV shows and they always tell the character that gets into fights to stop fighting, and then like someone is aggressive towards them and is like not backing down, and that person gets into a fight with them, I think it's really fucked up when people are like, "Why did you get into another fight?" I'm like, "Are you kidding? That person deserved to be knocked on their ass." Like,
Yeah.
there are people who fucking deserve to get knocked on their
I think it's very
ass.
circumstantial, and I don't like when the immediate response is like, that's something you probably want to ask questions. Oh,
Yeah, like, "Oh, what
how did this
happened? Why did
escalate to
this
this
happen?"
point? Yeah. Who else? Oh, another character that I really like this season is Max. I thought
I really liked
they
Max
did
this
really good
season
things with
too.
her. She was really interesting. She was fun. Like, I think she should have just been the main character. They should have just kicked Elle out of the show.
Yeah, I
Like, they
thought
have so much to work with those characters.
okay, I thought honestly their plan for like taking down Vecna or whatever made a lot of sense, like the Hawkins kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly thought if they wanted to, they could have just made that what happens at the end of season 4 and cut out all the other
Yeah,
characters.
I hated that 11 got her powers back. I
Yeah,
hated that she just walked up and like basically made everyone else's like attempts in vain. Like Eddie basically died for nothing now because Elle could have just walked up the whole time and like iced Vecna
yeah.
when she went. Like she did that single handedly. They did not like nothing they did assisted her in any way. I'm pretty
I
sure.
guess like they hurt him at best.
Yeah, stupid.
But one thing I would say is I feel like they do that with Elle, and they do this for like a lot of characters where she's just I don't know what it's called, but where she just comes in and is the solution.
Yeah, the
Um,
Deus Ex Machina.
oh yeah, that okay. I feel like Elle
Yeah,
just basically is that at the end of every season. Like she has
yeah,
some conflict that makes it hard for her to do it, and then she overcomes it, and like they do the Deus Ex Machina, where like she's just fix, and it's like I don't like
yeah.
that's not interesting. I think that's
It's
why Elle
so
being written off
boring.
would be interesting because like they'd have to solve a problem without Elle, and so they'd have to
Yeah,
like
no, exactly. When
solve
she
it.
lost her powers, at least it was like, okay, there's gonna, I, yeah,
I
they should
just knew
stay
she was
gone.
gonna get her powers back and save the day, which is kind of like boring to watch.
Also, that whole plot line with her getting her powers back, I wanted to kill myself. I was like, please stop this.
Yeah, I didn't mind it that much,
We
but
learned, yeah. I feel like everything that they needed to reveal with that plot line could have just been done in like flashbacks from even like Vecna's point of view.
true.
I felt as well they missed out on this, like there was this plot point where they show that 11 was the one who opened the door to the gate to the upside down initially when she was like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And like they, I forget if it actually is her in the end that like kills all the other children or if it is
No,
Vecna that does it, but I think she believes for a while that it's her.
she thinks for a while that it's her, and then she finds out that it was actually Becca.
Okay. And I think there was something structurally about the way they introduced us that where I just thought I was like, it felt like they started with the twist. I thought they should have shown her like remembering in flashbacks, and then the reveal should have been her like remembering that she was the one that did it and like killed everything. But they went like backwards about it for some reason. They're like, well, this is what Elle did, and then let's explain it. And then it's like, no, I feel like it would have been such like a good like little thriller mystery, a good little like reveal. If like you the whole time think that it's Vecna, and then at the end it's like, oh no, it was out like on accident.
Oh, I felt like it was done well for the decision of like how they were gonna do it, because I also just thought like when I watched it, and maybe I'm just dumb, but I genuinely believe that Elle just lost her mind and killed a bunch of people. Um, so like the whole time
No,
I was
I
like,
did too.
oh, why
I
did she
also
do
would have been
this?
okay if she was one that did it.
Yeah,
Because I feel like that was introduced with like the roller rink thing was like, oh, she does
yeah.
seem to have the capacity to be able to do
But
something like
I think
this.
that's the point. Is like they do it, and they're like, see, like Elle is sort of a bad person, like can be a bad person, or she has some sort of like thing in her that just like
Yeah.
sets off. And then they show, like I didn't mind that they show that actually like, yeah, she has a temper, but like that's what like makes her different from like Vecna or One or whatever, is that like she like doesn't just like kill people. Like she doesn't lose it and kill people, and I feel like he just like loses it and like
Oh,
has to
I
get
see.
revenge on them.
But she lost it and hit the girl.
Like yeah, she lost it and hit a girl, but like I feel like realistically she could have done a lot worse. And like
She tried to kill her too. What were her intentions when she tried to like
well, that
force
was the thing,
blast
is
her?
I feel like she was trying to figure out who she was, and like she was trying to figure out if she was a monster. And then when she saw that memory, she thought maybe she was like I thought it was well done in the way that they did the twist, because I expected the guy who was helping her the whole time to be One. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, you knew he was
But I
like,
didn't
yeah.
realize he was gonna be Vecna, and then I was like, oh, holy shit, because I thought he was like gonna be like, oh,
yeah, that was good. That was good.
yeah, because I thought it was gonna be like, oh, he's like the he's like they're setting up for a big bad for the next season or something, like he is like the one controlling Vecna, and then I was like, oh no shit, he just is Vecna, which I thought was like a cool way to do it.
Yeah, that was a good way to tie it all together, I think.
Can I also say, I know that on the one hand, I kind of wish Stranger Things had ended after season 2 or 3. On the other hand, with every episode, Robin becomes more and more my favorite character. And I know she was only introduced in season 3.
Yeah.
Her, Dustin, and Steve are my favorite characters, I think.
No, that's fair. That's what I mean. They're the gold mine. That's where the content is. That's where the viewers are.
Well, they're also all the comic
forget about
relief.
everything else. Yeah, true. They're the comic relief. I like Robin. I think maybe it's just, what's her name, Maya Hawke. I think she gets on my nerves sometimes. I feel like she has kind of one shtick and just does it all the time. It's fine. I like that she's a little bit different than she was in season 3. Like she's clearly like opened up and stuff. Like she's more her own personality.
Yeah, I haven't seen Maya Hawke in anything other than this, but I like the character she's sort of becoming. I like her sort of like bumbling, rambling sort of like shtick that she is going. Like I think that's like a fun little thing about her that like the other characters don't have as much of, and I think it adds sort of like an element of comedy, which is like what she's there for basically when things are really serious. So it was kind of fun to see her with like Nancy, who like is basically like stereotypical journalist kind of smart driven person, and then like Robin, who's clearly very insecure and like just talks a lot because she's nervous and like doesn't really know what to do, and is like Like, it's a fun dynamic, I think, to have.
Oh, that was the other thing I thought was really weird. When they do the scene right before they're gonna go into the what was it, like they're meeting like some admissions office at like a
Hmm.
school or something. And she's like, oh, we need to like look really preppy. We really need to like look the part to fit in. So for that reason, I'm going to bring. And then she chose Robin, and I was like, wait, no, definitely bring Steve, right? Like
Yeah.
Robin can barely compose herself. Like I thought that was really weird.
I also thought that was really weird because, yeah, Steve, while I don't think is like the smartest, I think he definitely could pull off the preppy sort of douchey student
Yeah,
look.
he can like. I mean, he. I think he did well, and I think he was a favorite in high school. Like, I think he's a very charming person.
Yeah,
I guess
he was
Robin
a
is as well, but
preppy
not
boy.
nearly in the same way. I don't know if it's just because they wanted women. She wanted. There was something to do with that,
I think
but
she
I
just
don't know.
like
I
sort
think
of
she should have brought
implied that
Steve to
they
that.
might need to flirt or something, but maybe that was wrong.
She would still be the wrong choice for that, and Steve
Yeah,
would be the right choice for
Steve would still be the right choice. I thought that was
But one
weird.
thing I did respect about uh, the dynamic between Maya Hawke and Nancy is that they didn't really like fake this friendship. Like Nancy, I think very clearly likes Robin fine, but isn't gonna be best friends with her. Like they don't really have anything in common. And I think I just liked how they didn't do like the classic like they just made them be friends because like they're the two women on the show and like oh like girl power. Like I think I liked that Nancy was still had to be like okay Robin like come on like she was like a little bit annoyed by having to deal with her, which I liked.
Yeah, I enjoy their friendship felt very like organic. Like it was sort of
Yeah.
like you got that they like I think they basically appreciated each other for what they were, which is like obviously I think that Nancy
Mm-hmm.
liked Robin fine, but like they're not going to be best friends.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of nice to see their dynamic because also like yeah, I think Nancy was just a little bit annoyed with Robin most of the time,
Yeah.
which like
I just
was
like
kind of
that.
fun. And it was like, oh, there wasn't some forced friendship. It was like they got along and it was a fun dynamic, but realistically, like they're not just gonna chill together all the time.
Yeah. And it was very clear. It's like, oh, like we're friends through Steve, and this is like our third time hanging out. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it. It made them
Also,
feel realistic.
um, okay, I know we talked about the Nancy and Steve and Jonathan thing, but
Yeah.
I wanted to say it felt really forced that like Nancy was into Steve again and like there was that whole thing.
Is she
Like,
into him?
well, because they kind of like when Nancy and Robin first started hanging
Yeah.
out, Robin like had to reassure her that like her and Steve were just platonic, which I thought was weird. And then like I thought it was weird that like they kind of were like it felt like the entire season pushing this plot that like Nancy has feelings for Steve again, and it felt very
Okay.
forced.
Yeah.
And like
No, yeah.
and like
Maybe I'm just wishful thinking.
no, it felt
I
like they
don't
were
know if I
pushing
read
that.
that. I don't know if I read that she necessarily liked him. I think she has like an understanding that he's grown, but I don't know if Nancy ever like asked Robin if like or maybe she like did, but I don't know if it was ever
She
like I think the reason Robin was like really reassuring was because she knew that Steve liked her.
No, dude. It really felt like because Robin said it because
Mm.
Nancy was like being really cold and weird to Robin, and Robin was like, "Oh, like
That's because
just
Robin's
so you know, like
great.
yeah, no, I don't think like Nancy didn't ask for it, but I think like they definitely
Okay.
were pushing this idea that like maybe Nancy's into Steve too, and maybe she is like
Mm.
not happy with Jonathan and wants to get back with like I felt like they were really trying to push that dynamic because otherwise they probably wouldn't have brought it up as much as they did. Because I feel like they brought up that Nancy
No, you're right.
and Steve were like had a relationship and it failed a lot. And I feel like yeah,
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I just hope that
but
it
it just
doesn't.
felt forced. And I hope it doesn't happen.
Mhm. It's like there are other girls in this town. Like,
Mhm.
get him a new girlfriend. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
switch things up a bit. Um,
I just want Steve to be a forever bachelor.
yeah, that's when he's at his best.
I thought it was really sweet at the end when Steve saw Robin talking to her crush, and he just like smiled a little bit
Yeah,
to himself. I thought that was
that was really
so sweet.
cute.
Him and Robin's relationship and him and Dustin's relationship, and I said this earlier, they're like two of the best relationships on the show, just because
Yeah,
they feel really like wholesome and like genuine and like
yeah, they
real.
really feel like friends the way they talk to each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. And you get why, like, I feel like you really understand why they're friends with each other. Like Steve and Dustin are friends because Dustin is more mature than his friends, but Steve is definitely less mature than like people his age, so they kind of like meet somewhere in the middle. I feel like it's really cute. And then like Steve and Robin have this fun little dynamic where I think she's a lot more honest with him than like a lot of people in his life previously, and so like he really enjoys that, respects that. And I think he probably likes having a
hmm,
female friend who he's not like hitting on, trying to sleep with.
yeah, it's a change of pace for him.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Um, those are also basically my character deep dives that we just went into.
Yeah, I feel like we did them.
The
I
only,
liked the
yeah,
stoner friend. He was fun.
you like too?
I don't have much else to say. The stoner guy.
Oh yeah, I thought he was a fun little part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I also
And
want to
I liked.
say I felt kind of badly for Jonathan this season. Well, I felt badly for him, but I was also mad at him.
I do, but he's so boring, so I don't
Yeah,
like.
because okay,
Sure.
I felt badly for him to a certain extent because I thought it was so clear that Nancy, I felt like was almost like teetering on if she should cheat on Jonathan with Steve. Like it just felt like the whole time.
Hey, no, no, no. I did not get
Okay,
that. I don't think
maybe
she's gonna
not
cheat
that.
on
It just
him.
okay, maybe not like cheat, but like it just felt like the whole season like she was teetering on if like she did still have feelings for Steve, and I was like, that's not really fair to your boyfriend. But and like yeah, they had their own issues, but I also thought it sounded like basically Jonathan wanted to break up with Nancy at one point, and I felt like what he was doing was really problematic. Like one, it was stupid because it sounded like the only
Yeah,
reason he wanted to like break up with her was because he felt like he had to take care of his family. And I'm like, bitch, your brother is grown. Like he's a teenager now,
yeah.
and your
And also,
mom
like, what
is
are
an
you
adult
doing? You're
woman.
high in your room all the time.
Yeah, like I don't know that you're really taking care of them
Oh, you're
anymore.
heating up spaghetti now and then. Like,
Yeah, I felt like he was just running away like a scared little
you
boy.
got time for a girlfriend. Yeah, I
Um,
think he was being it like basically like just lazy. Like he couldn't. He didn't. He was like, I don't want to
yeah.
bother doing any of the boyfriend stuff, and was being kind of whiny about it.
Yeah, and I think also what he was doing was really selfish because like he's
Yeah,
not telling Nancy the truth about their future together, and he's like
yeah,
making her believe that they have one together when clearly they
yeah,
don't. So like while I thought it was, I felt bad for him that like there was clearly something going on with her and Steve. What he was doing was probably just as bad. Um,
okay. I don't think there is something going on with her and Steve necessarily. Like, I think she was more just reflecting on things because this was like her kind of her first time really hanging out with Steve and like becoming like friends with him.
I guess.
Sense. That's what I got from that. But yeah, again, could just be wishful thinking. Um,
I think you and I interpreted
but
that relationship very differently.
like I think I know the show is trying to do that, but I just really hope not. But I think you're right. Like Jonathan, I did not understand like his motives at all. It just made me think that he was just being a stupid asshole.
Yeah,
And I
it
was
felt
like,
like
just break up with her. If you don't want to be like, just break up with her. It's like,
I thought his stoner friend
what is this?
put it really well at one point where he said, dude, this is stressing me out and it's not even my relationship. It's like, yeah, Jonathan,
Yeah,
you're stressing me out and it's not even, I'm not even in it.
yeah, and it's like it's not that stressful. Like Nancy is a pretty like straight up person. She's like, so like you're moving back here after yes, and then he could just say no,
Yeah.
and then it's like you might break up, but like I don't know. She's kind of stated what she wants out of
I
this,
feel
and if
like,
you're not gonna do that,
yeah,
that's
I
it.
just felt like Jonathan's motives were never good enough for me.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah, you're right. It was very selfish.
yeah, he was very selfish. And then, like, I don't know. I felt like Nancy basically, when she finally reunited with him, was almost like she was like a very different version of herself than the Nancy I saw this season that I actually enjoyed. I don't like love her, but I actually enjoyed her a lot more this season than I have in previous
Yeah, I
seasons.
liked Badass Nancy.
Yeah. I think like
Mhm.
I like that Nancy's pretty direct and honest and like yeah, is when she's a badass. And like at the end, like you saw she like really like shrunk into herself when like they reunited and she said, like, I know it's not important, but did you ever get your letter from Emery? And like it was just like she basically felt like she was like walking on eggshells around him and then like had to drop it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. They have such a toxic
And it's
relationship.
like, oh okay, like
They should break
you're
up.
making
Maybe
her
she
feel
should get
like
with Steve.
badly about this. Yeah, I just felt like it really like displayed
Yeah.
how shitty their relationship is going, and I think both of them have parts to play in that. But I do think the way Jonathan is dealing with their relationship is a lot more fucked up.
So men, like,
I've never really
he
loved
can
Jonathan
leave.
as a character. Like I don't mind him. I don't think he's like terrible, and I do think he's a good brother to Will. I thought they had a really sweet
Yeah.
scene when they like talked and Jonathan basically said like I know what's going on and like Will hugged him and like I thought that was a
Yeah.
very sweet scene.
Yeah, that was actually really cute.
And I thought it like did show like I understand why people like Jonathan and I understand, you know, that he is a good
Yeah.
person all in all, but I think he's such a mad character and like it
I think
just
there's just
doesn't feel like
characters
he
that
needs to be
overstay
in
their
there.
welcome.
Yeah, I want to see like
They don't like service anything
I
anymore.
almost just want to see Jonathan go away to college and be out of the show,
Yeah.
which I think is a fine
Like
thing
they
to do.
just I think it's also funny like they did something like that. Like if they like wrote off some characters, it's like you can always come back in a couple seasons and do like a little reunion episode. Like people get really excited about that.
Okay, another thing I thought would be cool when you're speaking of this is I thought Nancy being written off to college and then kind of showing up in the last like two episodes for the final showdown would have been really funny. Like her coming back and being
Yeah.
like, "You idiots! Like you need my help!" Like kind of thing. Because I
Very
do feel
creative
like
mess.
she's very much the adult like character, and it's like her coming back and being like, "Oh shit! Like I have to go save my idiot
Yeah.
like brother and his friends." I
Yeah.
think that could have been a fun way to reintroduce the characters, but like not have them on the show the entire season, so you could focus on like whatever characters are still in the show. Maybe they'll do that next season. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I said this, but I would have liked it if Hopper was in the Upside Down, and then like to get rid of Joyce and the guy we're calling Sikowitz because we don't know his name. It's just like they find clues that he's there and like go there and then get trapped also, and like that's why they're not around. Because again,
Yeah.
I feel like using the upside down more is just something I want to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. I
And
love when they went into the upside down to do shit.
yeah, and so I
That was
really like that
cool.
in the finale of this season that they did that. Um, and yeah, I said they should kill off slash write off some characters, even though
Agreed.
I love a lot of the characters. Even if it was a character that I really cared about, I'd be like, hey, I respect it. Like maybe, even though I really like Max, maybe she should die. Like maybe,
Yeah. It was weird to me that they killed Eddie just because he was so brand new and he was like definitely one of the more interesting characters. Um,
I thought it made sense because I thought they would do something like that so that they wouldn't have to, get him off for killing all those people.
oh yeah,
Sorry,
true.
killing in quotes. He didn't actually, but,
No, that makes sense. Like I
um,
wasn't like too upset by it. I think I was a little sad because I was like, oh, he's like interesting. I wish he could stick around more. And but then
yeah.
it's just also like there's so many other characters that I think are unnecessary that could have.
I think, okay, I thought this was weird was that basically they killed Max and then 11 does some power shit and brings her back to
Oh
life.
yeah, what was
And
that?
I think that's
No.
weird because I would have been okay if like he like hurt Max really bad and like she was
Yeah.
comatose, but like it didn't make sense to kill her and then bring her back to life because when they killed her I was like, holy shit, what a bold move, killing off one of
Yeah.
your main characters. And like she's fucking the rock star of this season, like I can't believe they did that. Then they brought her back and I was like, ugh, pussies.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been kind of fun if she died, I guess.
Because I feel like even
And
though
it
it
should not
upsets
have been
me,
L Magic that brought her back.
yeah, I feel like even though it upsets me, I like when shows make bold moves that I can at least respect.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I think that would have been a high note for her to go on too. But I think I think with her character arc though, maybe it didn't make as much sense to kill her. Like it didn't seem like anything she was working. She was more working towards like finding a will to live. So I think it would have been weird if she
Yeah.
died. But
Well, I feel like that was the thing is like they almost like she had worked towards finding a will to live and like forgiving herself for Billy, and I feel like she had done that, and that's almost
mhm.
why her death would be so much more sad because it's like, oh, she finally figured
Yeah,
out and she was finally getting back on track, and like she was finally sort of expressing herself more and like uh I feel like becoming the hero of their group almost like replacing 11 a little bit,
yeah,
and then like she dies a hero's death.
yeah.
But whatever, she's probably gonna be
Yeah.
alive
I
for the
think
next season.
the reason why I don't think that they would necessarily kill out, like I'm okay with them just writing kids off is because I think it's because most of them are just like children. And I think the only times where like they can really do it with like as little impact on the show is like the ones that don't really have like strong parental figures, like Max and Eddie don't really have parents that are involved, whereas the others do. I don't know. I just feel like
No, but I want
it
the
would be
deaths
kind
to
of
have
mean
a big
spirited.
impact on the show.
Like a child's death is a like
I'm
a
not saying, okay, by the way, I'm not saying kill all the characters.
no,
I'm
I know, but all the
saying,
characters are like kids.
like, and I know, but like you've chosen to do a horror show about children, and these children are fighting legitimately dangerous monsters. I think
Yeah,
it's completely unrealistic that over the course of this time, none of the main kids who are running towards danger have died. And I
I
don't
don't
mean
think kids can
that
die though in horror shows.
kids
I
can
don't think that's
die.
on the brand.
And
They
this sounds
can, but
really
it's
bad.
not like
Kids should die if this is the plot lines that you're if
kids
this is
should
the plot
die.
line that you're choosing to go
After
through. No, no, no.
2022.
I no.
No,
I
I
can't
know what you
stand it
mean. I just
because
think it's a different impact. Like story wise, I think it serves a different impact to kill a child as it does to kill like an adult or someone that can be just kind of like sadly mourned but like have that hero death. Whereas I feel like children is always hits like different. I'm not
yes,
saying
I
that it's
do
not
think
realistic, but I think it would be stepping outside of like the vibe of the show.
it hits different, but like for example, maybe not Max, but like let's say like
Mm-hmm.
11 in bringing Max back to life, like it just destroys her and she dies, or like
Yeah, but she doesn't
she
really have a parent.
she has hop like okay.
The Hopper's dead.
Well, no, he's not by then
That's what
though.
I think children without parents can die, but children
That's
with
so
parents,
fucked up,
it's
dude.
different.
Okay, but I said again, like Max could die and 11 could
Yeah.
die, both who don't have parental figures, and you said no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, so what I was saying
Sorry.
is,
I you can't kill like Dustin or Mike or Nancy because their
okay,
parents are in the show.
hot take, you
Oh,
could
you could
actually
say they're
kill Dustin because you never really see his parents, and I feel like his parents would just be written off and they would do it more from the perspective of
but his mom
the
loves him
kids
so
mourning their
much.
friend. But you couldn't kill any of the kids who have siblings because I feel like that hits different.
I think you could kill Jonathan
Uh,
because he's
I
like an
don't
older
think,
kid.
okay, well, your rules are made up bullshit. But I don't think you could kill because by that like they're all in high school. So by that logic they're all older kids by now.
Yeah, but they fulfill different roles.
But I don't think okay, that aside, I don't think that Jonathan's death would have a huge impact on the show, which is why I think a
Yeah,
character like him it would be simple to write him off because it's like, oh, um Jonathan left and that makes sense because Jonathan as a character doesn't have that big of an impact. But like a character like one of the main
so
kids.
you want like a ground shifting death that like
Like
totally
I want a
shifts
death
the status quo.
that's gonna change shit. Like it's gonna have an impact
Okay,
because like
okay, that's
otherwise it's
fair.
useless. Which is why I think if Max or 11 had died because they were the two heroes of this season, if one of them had died, it would have been like a huge impact and it would have like royally fucked everyone.
Yeah,
Especially if 11 died because it's like
yeah,
she is all their power, so it would have like fucked them all up and then they would have not only had to mourn their friend and for Hopper basically his daughter, but like they would have had to figure out a way to defeat this monster that she hadn't finished defeating.
I see. No, I can see that.
But whatever, I don't know. These are
Anything that
just
gets
my
rid of 11, I'm happy with.
I
Literally.
wouldn't. I'd be okay. I'd be more happy with 11 dying off than Max, but if they had killed off Max, I would have respected that decision just as much.
I think
But I would have been sad.
I would be sad, but I think they could kill off Steve.
Yeah, I heard rumors that they were gonna kill off Steve, and I almost didn't watch season 4 because I was scared that was true. I think.
Oh, they kill Eddie. They
I
probably
think.
won't because he's such a favorite, but I think they could do it.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I
it would be good.
also think killing off Steve, like if Steve had died the way Eddie died, almost where like Steve was like
Yeah.
saving them, and then he died. I think that would be a really bold and respectable move for the show too. Because I also think that
Yeah.
Steve is one of those characters where he's at risk of becoming
Yeah.
not a good character anymore because
Hmm.
everyone loves him and they know everyone loves him, so they want to give him more stuff, but like they're
Yeah,
gonna
the
fuck him
standards
up.
are too high. Yeah. No, that's what I'm thinking too. And I think as well when they introduced Eddie, I was kind of like one of them is gonna die because I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they can coexist. Like the world's
Yeah.
not big and the show's not big enough for the two of them. They're kind of similar. Um, yeah. Okay.
Um,
We've come to a solid compromise
I
on character deaths.
I don't know if this is a hot take. It's not in my hot take section. It's in my finale section. But I wrote down, should Stranger Things have just been a one season miniseries? Maybe. Do you have
Yeah.
thoughts or feelings about that?
I just think I could have done a better job directing the course of this show. I think. Yeah, no, I think the first season it would have been good as a standalone, and now it's become. It didn't need to be like a franchise.
Mm-hmm. And I was really pissed off at the end of this season when they like set it up for another season because I thought, okay, fine, I can accept that all
Yeah.
the episodes are 2 fucking hours long. I can accept that it's gotten really big as long as
Yeah.
this is your closing. You're ending it here. And I can accept this like wild plot line that was probably one of the only interesting ones of like who Vecna is actually being a character in the show already and like it tying things together. I can accept that as long as this is the end. Like you're closing it down
Yeah.
now. You're stopping it. And then they just set it up for season 5 and I was like, honestly, go fuck yourself.
No, I think you're right. I think it's okay, I think you're right. I think it should have been one season because I don't think that they've taken like the world that they've built in the right like they're just I feel like hitting the same beats again, dealing with the same problems again all the time. There's only so many seasons you can do that for. I think it would have been interesting if they closed the chapter on like the upside down elements of it, and then I was fine with it continuing because I like all the new characters they brought in, and I think they do have really strong like writers on their team, and the character arcs are really interesting. But the plot is getting old, and I just kind of wish they went back to maybe like more traditional television series of having like different problems every season, even if it does get like a bit more like cheesy. I don't know. I don't even know if it's cheesy. It's just like how usually TV works. But like I would have liked that like Scooby Doo element, like oh like a new monster. They could set it in like different times as well if they just wanted to like do like an American Horror Story type thing.
I
Like
was
do
gonna
like time
say,
skips, like keep things fresh.
do you have anything more to say about the finales, or I guess where do you think the show is going next season?
Next season, Elle I think is gonna be back in Hawkins. I don't know if I'll watch it honestly. I don't think I'm that interested. I think Nancy and Steve will get back together, so that dissuades me a lot. Um, they'll probably introduce a new fun character. I think it's gonna be a lot more of the same. I think Vecna's gonna come back as like a big bad.
Maybe. I feel like, do you
I don't
think,
know. It's hard
okay,
to say. It's hard to say. They didn't leave a lot, but
okay, this is part of my theory, and this
yeah,
could be because I have so many questions about it.
sure.
or maybe this is wishful thinking. I think they're gonna explain the upside down more. Like, I feel like they maybe did purposefully say that it was trapped in 1983. Why is that?
Okay.
Vecna's injured in the upside down. What's going on there? Elle opened a fucking door to the upside down, and in my mind created it, but maybe not. Um, in my head she did, but I guess she didn't.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, they should, and I hope they will explain the upside down more, and also I hope that this next season is their final season, and I hope that it's basically just maybe like Elle and Hopper, and then I think by association Joyce would move back to
Yeah.
Hawking, and Will and then Jonathan can fuck off. Will come back to town, and it will be very much like the vibes of the first season where it's just like the kids solving shit. This is just my wishful thinking, though, realistically.
Yeah,
Where I
no, I
wanted
think
to
it
go
will
back to
be
first season.
reminiscent of the first season, especially if it's like their final season. I think
I hope it's their final season.
they'll pull it back a bit and concentrate it on the upside down and the psychic mind powers. Yeah. Well, this was cathartic. I feel like I vented a lot of things I didn't.
We still have our hot takes. Or do you have any hot takes, I guess, to add?
Oh shit, I don't think so. I feel like I said them all. Do you have anything else?
Let's see. I'll read through my hot takes really quickly. I don't want Nancy and Steve to get together, but I don't think that's a hot take. Good. But I will accept it because if it'll make Steve happy. And I just want him to be happy at the end of the day.
Okay.
I think there are too many characters in the show. They should get rid of some. It's not that good of a show. I enjoy it, but I feel like it's overly hyped up. And honestly, I feel like it should have ended already. And it kind of pissed me off that the end of this season, they had set up for another season, which I said, did Hopper just become super hot? Question mark, question mark, question mark. I think I'm in love with him. Oh, this is what I haven't said. I'm sad because Henry/Becca was kind of super hot, in my opinion. Yeah. And I would have liked him to look that way while being evil at the end, too.
Yeah, his little Grinch belly.
My final hot take is, and I don't think this is a surprise to anyone, I don't think I like the show anymore.
No, I agree with that. I don't think I like this show anymore. The
I don't
amount
think
of shit they made me sit through just to get to Steve Harrington was way too much.
Yeah. We're all just watching the show for Steve, and just, I want to stress again. 2 hours is too long for a TV episode. Who do you think you are, Sherlock? No, you're not.
I know. Even Sherlock had like 3 episodes a season.
Yeah, they had 3 or 4 episodes a season, so I was basically committing to just watching a movie a day.
Wasted my time.
I don't want this shit.
I need the theatrical cut, not the director's cut.
I'm so mad. Like, this is my problem throughout.
If you have a boring storyline, maybe get rid of it. Don't add an extra hour to your episode.
Here's a thought. Don't be afraid to cut characters. Guess what? Them. That's the reality. Don't keep adding characters without any intention of cutting others.
I like that they did the horror thing.
It didn't really feel that horror-y, but I guess they did.
At first, but then it was just things.
Yeah, in episode 1, I thought it was going to go a horror direction, and I feel like I had heard rumors that this season went a horror direction, and then it didn't, really. I mean, I guess it did kind of.
They did a lot of the references at first when I was here for it, because I thought, like, I kind of thought it was going to be a different monster from Upside Down, but then it just was, and I was like, no.
I'm fine with the Upside Down being a thing as long as they explore it more. Yeah. Like, I don't want it to just be, oh, a new monster has emerged from the Upside Down. I'm like, how? Where do they come from? What's going on with the Upside Down? What is that world? Tell me about it more.
Are there other worlds? That'd be interesting too.
Yeah. Maybe there aren't other worlds because Elle created the Upside Down. I'm just gonna decide
that canonically said that it was one.
Well,
maybe they didn't though. Maybe I
he didn't like what I mean is I have decided that Elle in my head canon created another dimension, and then one like took over
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah. Maybe? I don't remember. Maybe.
I don't mean like
We'll
one.
have to
I
watch
don't mean
season
like
5.
Elle like made it the way it is. Although maybe she did that too. I don't know. But I've decided that she
No.
created this second dimension,
One
and that's why
dimensional
it's
design, for sure.
yeah. Did one even do the interior decorating? I thought
Yeah,
he
he
just
did. He like waved his hands and it made a big spider thing. Because he likes
okay.
spiders.
Okay.
And she was
But
really
then for
into
some reason it
screenplays.
became the human world, which I don't understand. Explain, Stranger Things explain.
They did.
Alright, well,
Explain better.
maybe I'll watch a YouTube video that better explains it. We just did our Stranger Things episode, but now I'll go back and understand it more.
Is this being released on Halloween? Or is we have another one for
No.
Halloween?
This
Oh
is
yeah, we
being
have
released
a special.
This is being released in Halloween month, which is, we didn't explain this, why Larissa and I are wearing 80s outfits for Stranger
Yeah.
Things. We have our 80s makeup going on. We've really worked hard. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful girl.
Giving people what they want. Our best.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
that'll be
we
fun.
dressed in costume for Halloween month.
Stay tuned for a little for maybe some 90s inspired outfits for next episode on Halloween.
Get
So if you can
hype.
guess what show it is, you'll win
Nothing but our
our
respect.
affection.
Yeah, should we talk like it's the 90s too? Talk like they do in that show? Just see how it goes. Really annoying, basically, is how they talk, but save that for another day. Yeah. Alright, catch us on the flip.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.